Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing something new, which is kit building. So we're going to be heading over to my kit stash. Got quite a few kits. Some are ready to run up on the top, but these are all kits. So today we're going to be working on an IHC old time tank car. These are kind of cool kits. They've got a whole old time series. It says $0 on that. It's kind of entertaining. But yeah, these are great little kits. They go together really easily. This is still an older kit, so you'll see some yellowed tape and bags, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and start getting everything out of the bag, or the box. Sorry, you're going to actually see. I'm checking to make sure that the pieces are as flat as possible as we go through. So the deck, again, open up the parts bags here. You're going to have the instructions. This is going to come with metal axle but plastic wheels for the trucks, and so we're going to be upgrading those to some metal. And then it does have a coupler type. We'll go over that in a little bit. You see, I just tossed those immediately. Last is the frame here, and again, I'm just checking to make sure this is straight. You saw that I actually had another one in box. I actually had another one that I previously built, but I had to rewarp the frame, which was not fun. So go ahead and get the instructions opened up. Pretty simple instructions, and get started here. So just to start off with, we're actually going to grab the wheels, make sure we're ready to go with those. These are specifically plastic sprue nippers, so they're going to give a very nice, flush, flat cut. Again, the kit is very old, so you can see that some of this just kind of comes off immediately. Going to be cutting any extra flash off of the ends. Very important to make sure all the fitting is proper. I do some sanding. A lot of it has been edited out because it's just very fine sanding, and it's rather boring to watch. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of clip everything off the sprue, toss the sprue safely into a recycle bin. Always recycle. And same thing here with the wheel, the brake wheel. Make sure it's a nice flush cut so everything is good to go. Always take care when using sharp tools. You will nick yourself and it will hurt. Don't do that. Alright, so first step is going to be to set the deck onto the chassis itself. So that should just snap right in place there. Basically, the trucks are going to screw in and hold it, so no need for any glue on that portion. These railings actually just slide in on the side as well. They have a nice snug fit. They take a little bit of fiddling to get just right, but again, an old kit, but it should just snap right in. Same thing with the other side here. Go ahead and just snap that right in. Use the table surface to make sure it's as level as possible. You can see here these have the pegs down, so we're actually going to use the peg holes on the bottom of the deck there. Go ahead and try and insert this here. Not going to lie, I had a lot of problems with this first one. There was a mold messed up or something. It just, I was having issues. We don't want to talk about how long it took to get this to work right. Alright, so finally got it in. Took some creative, you can see the sander there, took some creative sanding. I learned my lesson and pre-sanded this next one, so basically the edges are just a little thick with the paint, so we can get the paint off and it seems to be okay. This one snapped right in with no problems. Next is setting in the wood beams with the pegs on the outboard sides, so go ahead and complete that little fence or gate, whatever you want to call it. These just snap in as well. I do reinforce it with a little bit of super glue here, just a small bit, just to make sure that everything is nice and it holds tight. Now you're going to see here in a second that I realized that because the plastic is slightly warped, I needed to be able to press and hold these together. had an entertaining solution to this. These are monstrously too big for clamps, but it is what I had on hand for the moment, so it's what I went ahead and used. And you can see, even though the other side is actually fine, I went ahead and did the same thing on the other side just to make sure. So again, just a small amount of that super glue, and it'll hold itself nicely. I don't really recommend using these all the time, but hey, you know, in a pinch, they work. Next, I went ahead and started sanding the connection point between the two halves of the barrel. Basically, this is just to make sure so that the glue has a nice adhesion surface. There are 4 pegs on one side and 4 holes on the other, so basically your top and bottom, and they're going to fit together. The other thing that can happen is when you get it nice and sanded, you get a nice flush connection there, so no gap or anything like that. And again, just some super glue on the peg surfaces, and as well a little bit on the flat. You'll see here I do get all 4 sides. It's just a very small light layer just to go around. And go ahead and just press those together. This one did not need any clamps, so I just went ahead and pressed it together with my hands and worked just fine. After that, the 2 larger pegs just snap into the bottom, and they literally snap in, so you see I am shaking the heck out of it, and we're good to go. You can see here I had a mishap and had to re-glue a section, so just make sure you follow through when you're gluing stuff. Next are going to be the supports here for the tank. So I don't know if these would be end beam supports or what they would be called, but basically going to go ahead and clean the rest of the flash off here. So I did a little bit of sanding just to make sure that the surfaces are good. A little bit more here to clean up the edges. And go ahead to the second one. You'll see that this one has actually a warp in one of the pieces on the edge there. It's got a downward warp there, so just gently apply some pressure using my fingers and obviously my own body heat just to kind of get it warmed up a little bit to soften it so it moves a little nicer. As you can see, when we get to putting it on, it worked just fine. There was no problems with it. Glue dried on that, so went ahead and removed the clamps again, second time. Went ahead and inserted into the bottom section there, and then pressed in the little pieces into the barrel as it's fit in there. They do take some finagling. Again, it's an older kit, so you're going to have some warpage in the plastic that even you can't see with your own eyes or a camera. Go ahead and glue the edges just to be on the safe side there. Just a small dollop in the insertion points. And then we'll do the same thing for the other side here. Again, just press in the sections into the ends there, and these do pretty much just snap in, but again, just always to be on the safe side, I want to make sure nothing falls apart during handling. I've also got a couple, three kiddos, and want to make sure it stays together if they get their hands on it and start tossing it around. I'm kidding, my kids don't toss them around, thank goodness, but they do play trains with Dad sometimes, and want to make sure that everything's safe. So. Small dabs of glue always get the trick done. Don't need a lot. Next, we're going to put in the topper, a little bit of light sanding just to get the paint off there. This fit nice and snug. I actually didn't glue anything into it. Couldn't get it back out, so there it stays. Here you're going to see the metal wheels. Now I'm pointing at the frame. Basically, these metal wheels are insulated on one side. Because it is a metal frame and the wheels could make contact with it, and we want to make sure that all of the wheels are insulated on the same side. So basically on all the trucks, all the wheels have to be insulated on the same side, and then when we install them, we want to make sure all the insulation's on the same side so we don't have any shorting issues around curves and such. Now these are short cars, but nevertheless, it's imperative we do that so we don't have any shorts. These are what they call the universal couplers. They are supposed to work with basically KDs or knuckle couplers and horn hook couplers. They are temperamental, to say the least. I have had mild success with them. However, my philosophy with kits, unless it's a horn hook, if it's a horn hook I change it immediately, but my philosophy with these is until it breaks, use it. And I do that for a number of reasons. One, KD couplers are a little bit pricey, and these do work with them. They just take a little bit of getting used to, but yeah, until these break, we're going to keep using these. That being said, when they do, we'll change them out. Next, we're going to go ahead and put in the trucks and wheels, the trucks. And you can see there, basically, you screw it in through the bottom of the metal frame, and it goes into the plastic and holds the plastic down. Here I'm adjusting for the overall movement, and you can see it rolls super nice. Didn't need to tune the trucks on this. Works beautifully. Next, we're going to do the brake handle. This would be the shaft for the brake handle. So just a dab of glue. It fits right in snug. Be very careful pressing down on the top with just your finger. You should definitely use something else to do that. But and then last is the brake wheel. Again, it's just going to pop right on there. Don't push too hard. The metal will come through and you will poke your finger. I have done that once before and it's not fun. Alright, well, the kit's built, but next we're going to do what I call the quick and cheap weathering. And I say that seriously. Basically everything on here is going to cost you right around 30 bucks. That's brushes, that's all of the panel liner, the Neo Lube, and all of those powders there. So first we're going to go ahead and remove the wheels. This is going to be the same as my other Get It Running series video that I did. Basically this is just going to help color the wheels and lubricate the points, or the needle point on the axle. So it's going to roll a little better, which is good. And it's okay if you get a little on the tread because it's conductive and it's not going to hurt anything. Next we're going to use the panel liner. There are a lot of little things on this, a lot of little lines on this model kit. Basically what I'm going to do is try to get the panel liner to go as many places as possible. So you're going to see this kind of jump cut around really fast. You're also going to see me splotch a few times. I am not that worried about that. Basically, this car needs to look pretty old and used at this point, so if it doesn't look fantastic, that's fine. It's basically going to be modeled in a very barely used state. Go ahead and do the bolts at the ends of the sills there. You can actually do this panel liner onto the brake wheel and really accentuate the look there. Little side posts here. You can go ahead and do that, and it just defines everything as you go through. The tank is tricky. You're going to see me do both ends here basically pretty quick. Same sort of technique as everything else on panel liner, but I go a little heavy and a little light in spots. Again, it's just kind of a nice weathering effect. Now, if I were trying to do something very clean, I would obviously be much more sparing with the panel liner, but in this case it just needs to be pretty dirty, pretty functional, or barely functional looking. This is the fun part where you can actually watch it just start dribbling down, which I actually enjoyed doing this quite a bit. But this takes a long time, and you have to go over sometimes multiple passes to get it to truly creep all the way down. But we did have some fun with this, and it dries fairly quick. To move on to the next portion. Now the Neo Lube's dried at this point. Neo Lube takes about 15 minutes or so to dry, and then you can flop it over to the other side and get the rest of it painted there. Setting that aside, go ahead and finish our panel liner here. You can see I stopped kind of halfway. The other thing you're going to see is that I tried to do less panel liner around the Rio Grande emblem on the side there. There's actually kind of a prototypical reason for that. Basically, that would still be slightly clean, so you could read the road name and number. Now, the road number is on the actual flat car of this and not the tank, but I still wanted it to be slightly legible. So, and again, here you're going to see me kind of go from the middle on a few of these, and you'll see it spread as it goes through. The capillary action, as it's called. What's also nice with the panel liner is you can go over the truck's detailing and the truck detailing, and it'll accent that as well. And then we're going to do some powders over it. What this does is it's going to give it much more of a depth to the finished product, as opposed to just doing powder straight over plastic. It'll help with the springs, where the saddle is there, the journal boxes, and yeah, you could actually do it on the couplers as well, but the couplers are black plastic, so there's no real reason. So starting with the powders, basically, you can kind of do this in any way you would see fit. Basically, I wanted this to be dirty. Like I said, I want this to be as used as possible. So this is actually soot. I started with soot, basically just to really grind the absolute heck out of this. In my Get It Running series, I try to do a little bit more with airbrushing first, then accent with powders. This, again, is just supposed to be the, build it quick, get the powder on, and you have a fairly weathered car. It's not going to be museum quality, it's not going to be perfect, but you are going to get something that's credible, and at least a good starting platform. Next is the rust. Definitely starting that on the trucks, because the rest of the body is wood. So starting that on the trucks, do a little bit on the couplers. You're going to see a little bit on the bolts as well. This is the darker rust. There's also a orange rust to the left side there. Doing a model like this, I do a little bit around where the filler cap is at the top there, just to show that water's been there for a while. The point of this series is, to get the dust off the boxes, build the models, and basically just get them running on your layout. The silver here is going to be to help accent a few of the wood grains, as well as to kind of change the color of a few of the boards and kind of ages the wood a little bit. So it gives it that silver, or that silvered wood color, that kind of really aged look there. And a little bit of the silver also accents as the on the couplers is some metal surfaces. Here you can see me using the red orange there to do the bolts at the end, as well as the trucks again, and the couplers, just quick dusting over them, and it just helps bring out a little bit of detail and just age it a little bit more. You can see I tried to do just kind of a simulated spill mark at the top there, using this white as well on top of the black, just a little bit. This is going to show kind of a calcified water as it would go down there. So, and again, it's not perfect. It's not meant to be. It's just meant to get the point across as this is an old car, and that's how it's going to stay. And the last portion of the powder weathering is the sand, dust, and mud. This I always start with the sand. The dust is super light, but the sand gives it just a nice yellow texture. You see, I'm actually trying to get a lot of the underframe done here. Queen posts and the truss rods, as well as the bolsters for the trucks, as well as the trucks themselves. Just a nice, healthy dose of this stuff. What I really like about this is you get such a wonderful look, and it almost looks natural if you do it right, where it's just that's why I like to use the brush. And you can see me there really trying to just fling this dust all over, because in actuality that's how the real railroads it happens. It just sort of goes all over. Alright, last thing is putting the wheels back in. Again, we're going to make sure that all of the insulation is on the same side. So go ahead and snap those all back in. And here's our finished old-time tank car. I want to thank you again for watching this video. These are really fun for me to make. Again, this is not meant to be a perfect museum replica. It is just meant to be a kit that is built and weathered quick to put on the layout and run. That's the whole point for this series. Thank you again for watching. If you are not subscribed, please go subscribe. Definitely more content coming out soon and hopefully rapidly. I've got a lot of kits to build and I've got a lot of things I want to finish up. So again, thank you for watching. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button as always, and you can reach out to me here in the comments. You can also reach out to me on my Instagram and Discord, and we'll see you next time.